You do not get to decide when a woman wants to interact with you.
I'll agree with that. A man doesn't get to decide whether or not you respond to him, but you don't get to decide whether or not any human being that you happen to meet on the street, at the grocery store, in a bar, at a restaurant, walks up and says hello to you. People are allowed to speak to other people. It's a thing.
Just because you see a woman out in public you might find her attractive does not give you the right to approach her.
Just because you're a woman doesn't give you any special privileges. None whatsoever. There's no rules or laws that says you get a 10-foot barrier around you and no man can enter. No big, bad, scary man. Bad man! Don't enter my space! Oh my God! You're strange. You're fucking weird.
Just because you want an interaction does not mean that she wants an interaction. Just because you think that you might want to try to start a relationship with her doesn't mean that she shares the same fucking sentiment.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't. Just because somebody finds you attractive doesn't mean that you're going to find them attractive. And that is perfectly okay. But there's something in this world called common courtesy. And you know what? You don't know the battles that somebody's fighting. And just a simple hello or I'm not looking or I'm not interested is all you have to do. But you don't define what somebody wants or whether somebody finds you fucking attractive. And you know what? With your shitty fucking attitude, you should probably be very happy that any man might come fucking near you because, ugh.
Where do men get off thinking they have every fucking right to ever approach a woman and come up in her fucking personal space because they feel like they have a right to do so?
I spend a lot of time out in the world, like in bars, and walking into businesses and going to meetings where I'm in elevators. And guess what? When you live and exist in the fucking world, people are in your personal space whether or not you want them to be. It is part of fucking reality. And just because somebody's a man doesn't mean he has to bow down to you and say, oh, I gotta say 53 feet away. But in this day and age, he probably needs to because you just seem like a woman that might just be like, oh, sexual harassment, sexual assault, just because he fucking happened to get within 3 feet of you. What the fuck? Why are you so damn uptight?
Let me let you in on something, sir. Women do not want you to approach them no matter how attractive you think that they are.
Now, I've been annoyed this entire video, but that just fucking pissed me right the hell off. You, ma'am, you with your fucking I am better than every man out there and how dare they fucking speak to me attitude do not get to speak on behalf of all women in any way, shape, or form, and nor do you represent what every woman wants. There are a lot of women in this world that would love a nice gentleman to walk up and approach them and introduce himself. But you know what? Men have stopped fucking doing that in our world because of bitches like you. Men are so goddamn afraid to approach a woman because they're afraid that if they get within a foot of you, you're going to scream sexual assault and they're going to end their ass in jail. Men have stopped doing what makes them men because of fucking women like you that are stepping into your masculine energy and trying to feminize men. Let men be men. And if you don't fucking like it, tell them you're not interested. But don't ruin it for the rest of us.
Women may approach you if they so choose to think that there might be something there, that they want an interaction with you. You do not get to choose and justify your behavior and your inklings with a forced interaction upon another woman.
Know what weird fucking entitled world you have grown up in that makes you think that you have the right to define what other human beings do on this planet? A man has just as much right to walk up and approach you and introduce himself as you have to approach him. And at the end of the day, it is not, I'm going to sit on my pedestal and go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I only want to talk to him. Just as you get a fucking choice into who you want as a mate, so does a man. And if he wants to walk up to you and say hi, he has every fucking right to do it. You have every fucking right to be a cunt to him, which I'm sure you will be because this video shows you're a fucking cunt. But he still has the right to approach you. And you know what? I hope someday when you walk up to a man and approach him because, oh, you picked him out, you want to have an interaction with him, he's fucking blessed. He goes, fucking bitch.
I am so tired of men thinking that they have a fucking right, that a woman has to interact with them simply because they have found her attractive and want to interact with her.
Again, you don't get to define who says hello to you in this world. You are also under no obligation to interact with anybody, to be polite to anybody, to have manners, show common courtesy. You don't have to do that. You can walk through the world being a fucking bitch with your little box around you, pushing the world out and getting further and further and further and deeper into your fucking bitterness and resentment towards men in this world till one day you wake up alone on a Saturday evening, snuggling your cats and wishing you had met a nice man. Oh, but you yelled at him when he approached you.
You do not know that she shares the same sentiment as you. And now you have approached her and you haven't encroached on her personal space. Does that work out for you?
Oh, I'm so sorry that somebody came up and said hello to you because they thought you were pretty, and that's encroaching on your personal space. Yeah, if he's all up in your business, he's an inch from your face. Yeah, that's your fucking personal space. But if he's a foot from you or 2 foot from you, that's not your fucking personal space. This is the free world, and I get to be in any space I want to in public. And if it makes you uncomfortable, you can tell me to go away. But you don't get to tell him not to do what he wants to do in this world, just as he doesn't get to tell you what to do.
This man that we're referring to was not trying to approach me because he wanted to strike up a conversation. He approached me because he wanted to ask me for money. He was twice my fucking size and I was alone with my children. We weren't in a social interaction. And even if we were, again, do not approach women.
Again, you do not speak for the rest of us. You know, I was in downtown of a major city, I'm not going to mention where, the other day, and a homeless man walked up to me and asked me for a couple bucks. I told him I didn't have any money on me, and I went to the corner convenience store and I brought that man back a drink of water because it was an excessively hot day in North Carolina. And I brought him back something to eat, and he was incredibly gracious, and he actually said a prayer with me on the sidewalk. Sometimes people need a little leg up, but you're too fucking stuck in your world and afraid of everything around you. And you know where that comes from? It comes from the feminist narrative that all men are bad. It's all men. They're all predators. Be afraid of all men. That you can't even fucking give somebody a chance to have a 2-second conversation from 2 feet away.
You do not get to decide how a woman has to interact with you. Get the fuck off your high horse and leave women the fuck alone.
Right. A man doesn't get to decide how a woman interacts with him. Just as a woman doesn't get to decide how a man interacts with her. So if he walks up to you, he is perfectly allowed to do that because we don't get to decide how somebody interacts with us because you just said those words. Just because you're a woman doesn't give you a fucking special privilege that a man doesn't have. You need to get off your fucking high horse and stop speaking for the rest of us. Because you know what? You're doing a lot of damage to women that actually want men to approach them, hit on them, talk to them, and start a conversation. So why don't you shut your fucking mouth, do a little better, be a little nicer, have some common courtesy, and have the fucking day you deserve.